Hey Rishi, so let's talk about some of the changes that happened in the industry, a few months ago, maybe like a year and a half ago or so, from Facebook in terms of iOS tracking and so on. How do you see the changes that are happening in Facebook when it comes to iOS tracking and so on? How do you see that affecting CRO and the CRO activity? What is a good CRO person and a practitioner should do?
I think it's going to have a massive impact on CRO. I think the way the mental model I was just thinking about, like what's the best way of kind of showing the analogy is that what was happening previously was that just think of the scenario. A customer walks into a room, the marketer is able to attach a string to the customer, and then as the customer walks out of the store and they goes to the grocery store, and they go to the doctor's office, they go to their home, they go to the bathroom, we actually are able to kind of see where all they're going. I'm using a very strong analogy, but I'm trying to make this point. Now, if you can track all of that behavior, post-visit behavior, then you can actually design a marketing plan that says, hey, listen, we don't have to worry about closing the sale today. We have we know where this guy is going, and we'll close the sale eventually, like the CIA does, right? But what's happening now is that the data is starting to get hold. So you might be able to track the customer leaving from your website or your store to another store. But when they then go to the doctor's office, because of privacy controls, that connection is being broken, and then you're able to again see them somewhere else. And so it's very partial data now, and it's kind of very unreliable. And I think that I actually am a big fan of this thing, that what iOS has done. I mean, iOS is, they're like, look, we're not in the business of selling ad space, so why the hell should we allow Facebook and advertisers to make money on our customers? And so they've done it for selfish reasons. I do think this is better for buyers. But this then reminds me, so the marketer is now in a conundrum, which is that previously when I could track everything, then I don't have to be very, very clever, and I don't have to be very persuasive. I have time to close the sale. And now the only thing that is reliable for the brand, and I'm talking about first party data, the thing that's
Yeah.
reliable to me is the behavior that happened while the session was alive on my website. Everything outside of that, I have less confidence on that. So this is going to create a whole new crop of marketers. And I think if you think about how direct response marketing was, that is exactly how it was historically, right? So you would, in a magazine or a newspaper, you would say, we're launching a new printer, cut out this coupon and mail it to us, and we will get. That is a dead sure signal that the person is interested in your product. Everything else is speculation. Like, the
Yeah.
circulation newspaper is meaningless for the
Yeah.
direct response marketer. All they care about is how many coupons were returned, and how many of those coupons, because now we have their mailing address, actually we made a sale on. And
Yeah.
I think marketing is going to move towards that mindset where we'll say, listen, the only thing that matters is not what the user is doing outside our website, is how do I construct a sales pitch to convert them during that session itself, whether that session is 30 minutes or maybe even 2 or 3 days, but it's all first party data, and I can't rely on anything else. I think it's going to, like you used the analogy before, like brushing your teeth, it's going to actually activate a different muscle. And I actually think this is going to make much, much better marketers because of all of this regulation. So I'm very excited about it, but it's going to require us to have a different skill set because of that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think because of that, you should be strategic about what type of data you're actually collecting, right? Like the way I think about data is you go on a page and you're recording, the behavior thanks to things like Google Analytics events, for example. But then maybe you're also session recordings active, using a tool like Hotjar or a similar one. But what about the qualitative stuff, right? Like for me, a website, sure, it's the jobs to be done of the website is to sell something, right? But to me, like you should leverage also to collect first party data straight from the mouth of your customer.
Yep.
That is qualitative, right? That could be like, asking for feedback about one specific thing that you're trying to learn more about, right? you and I have previously spoken about this concept of asking for feedback about copy, asking for feedback about images, asking for feedback about product description, asking for feedback about, is the search bar giving you the results that you were expecting, right? So to me, this is also an opportunity to augment the first party data that you should be collecting for your website, and then put together quantitative and qualitative data together to understand motivations and friction points so you can improve the experience.
Absolutely, absolutely right. So 100% correct. So the way to think about this is that if you are able to convert 1% of your audience within that session in which they discovered you, and then you have, let's say, 2% of conversion that happen post that session, we are making the argument that a lot of that post-session tracking is going to become problematic. But what you could do is you could double the conversion rates of people that happened in that same session. And if you leverage the insights that Lorenzo is talking about, getting user feedback, you're actually not going to be able to have complete clarity on this, but you can be pretty confident that if I can double the conversion rates of that are happening in that session, then that post-session 2% conversion rates will also go up by 50, 100%, right? So it's actually going to have an exponential impact on your business. So I think that this is the thing to focus on. And yeah.
Yeah, and it's coming straight from your client's mouth.
That's right. Now, I want to also add a message for people that are, on YouTube or Google that are searching for this topic of tracking and conversion rates. Clearly, you are someone who thinks about this stuff, and clearly you are someone who wants to, jump in front of this problem and opportunity. I want to introduce these two people that you've just met on your screen. On my left is Lorenzo, and Lorenzo has spent a decade working with direct-to-consumer brands, working in marketing, working in advertising, essentially full funnel marketer, and has worked with some very, very large direct-to-consumer brands. And his focus, while he does all kinds of conversion optimization, I think his core focus is customer research. And if you, Lorenzo, maybe you can add a couple of points over here.
Yeah, for me, whatever conversion problem the brand is trying to solve, it comes down to two things: understanding why people buy, understanding why people don't buy, and come up with solution to augment the reasons for buying and lower the objections for not buying. And I do that through customer research, that being surveys, reviews mining, session recordings, and so on.
Yeah, and I am a direct response guy. I'm an old school direct response marketing guy, so I do conversion copywriting. Now, the reason why we're sharing this is because this video is one in a series of 500, maybe even 5,000 videos. Lorenzo and I have just made a commitment. We've been doing now this. Our channel's a year old, Lorenzo, right?
Yep.
So when it's not like we're just starting off, we've been doing this for over a year. We've published a ton of videos, but now we're going to create videos where we're going to actually cover all aspects of there are a few themes that we're really focused on. We're focused on conversion copywriting, buyer psychology, user research. We study a lot of direct to consumer brands product pages, and we share everything we learn. Essentially, we want to convert this into a research hub where everything that we learn, we work with some big direct to consumer brand. Everything that we learn, including case studies and including little snippets that we found on another website, we want to share with you. So if you're the type of person who wants to go way in front of your competition and really outpace your competition, I would recommend you check out our other videos. And if you like what you see, subscribe to our channel, because every single day, Lorenzo, am I correct? Every day we're going to be publishing for the next 5 years. So everything we know is going to be yours, but you have to take the effort of clicking on the bell icon and subscribing. So
thank you. Ciao.
Awesome. Take care.